Hey, what's up? Today I have a very important topic I wanted to talk about. Today we're talking about difficult times, dark times you could say, and how to help yourself get through it when it feels like it may be a little difficult to do so. So I have 4 different steps here that if you ever are back in a dark time or just not a very good time in your life, maybe this video could help you out. And it's something I wish I would have thought about more when I was in a darker time of my life. But let's dive right into it here. The first step, I would say, is to really you have to fully understand your situation. Of course, the big question you gotta ask yourself is, what led me here? What is the reason for you being here right now? Why didn't you change things sooner? Let's say the issue here is not so circumstantial. It's not that something recently happened that caused you to have like a downward spiral necessarily. Let's assume that in this circumstance, it's something that the life that you have is something that you're not happy with, and that's why you're in a dark time. It could be, I would say it's a bit different if, something just kind of happened in your life that puts you into that dark time, but this is especially the case, like, that I've noticed for myself, for sure, which is, what choices have I made to this point that led me to the life that I'm not very happy with? A really important question to ask yourself is, what is the biggest issue that's going on in your life? There's this principle, this rule known as the 80-20 rule. And basically it explains that 80% of your issues, I would say in this case, most likely come from 20% of the things that are happening in your life. A lot of people may be unhappy because of the fact that they are working a job that they don't like. So they wouldn't go and necessarily try to fix like this and this and this, like all these other things in their life before seeing if they're able to get a different job or do a different position, because that is the main thing that's causing the whole issue in the first place. Kind of think of it like that. So that's all under the first step, which is just understand your situation. What led you here? Why did things not change sooner for you? And what's like the biggest thing causing the most issues? Step 2, I would say, is to create a vision. Where do you want to be long term? And by long term, I mean like 5 to 10 years from now. Where do you want your life to be? That is something to really think about. Envision in your head. Like, okay, in 5 to 10 years, for me personally, I want to be married. I want to have a family or start a family and work full time on the things that I truly enjoy doing. That's like a long-term vision of like a life that would be truly amazing for me. I mean, it's a little bit vague, but just kind of having that idea in your head. Next up, kind of think like, where do you want to be in the short term that will lead you to solving like the biggest, most drastic issue that's causing the most problems in your life. So like, take for example, say it's like a job situation. Figure out like, okay, in the short term, what can I do now to mitigate the issues that my job is causing me? Or what can I do to like switch jobs or just do something differently so it's not a continuous cycle of like misery? The next step, of course, is to create a plan. What can you do today? Like, say it's not a job issue. I keep bringing up that example, but say the issue is you're unhealthy and you're feeling the health effects of not being healthy. What can you do today? Well, you could probably just switch out one time during the day that you'd be snacking on junk food with, I don't know, some vegetables or some fruit or just something healthier, like a healthier alternative for at least like one snack or one meal or something like that, just to try to kind of integrate the good habits, the good things into your life there. Kind of more on that is like, what are the small things that you can do that can make a big difference? Like, one thing I would say is kind of like small in terms of like, it doesn't take a lot of time. It's very difficult, but it doesn't take a lot of time depending on how you do it, is like working out, going to the gym. Like, if you're someone who's struggling like with health and stuff, if you just go to the gym and maybe you just like walk on the treadmill or do some weightlifting for like 20-30 minutes, nothing even that crazy, just a little bit, something that's not too big, pretty small, it can make a massive difference in your life. And then as you're going about figuring out these things that will help lead you to just drastically changing your life for the better, like in the short term especially, then start to think about, okay, what can I do? What kind of plan can I create here to get me going in the right direction for the long term? So take, for example, my example. You know, one of the things I said is I want to be married. Okay, what can you do about that? Say you have the same goal as me and you want to be married in the future within 5 to 10 years. Well, here's a very important thing to think about, which is it's not on the other person. Odds are you may be single. I was single for the longest time until just recently. But you know what was very important for me during the time that I was single, which I would say was probably a dark time? I wanted to become someone that would be worthy of having someone amazing to marry one day. And that's something I'm still striving for. I want to become the type of person that deserves the type of woman that I want in my life. So if one of your goals is to eventually get married one day or just have a long-term relationship, think about what you can do for yourself. That's just an example here, but think of like a plan that you can put yourself on. Like, okay, I need to level up in like these areas of my life, which will improve me as a person overall and lead me to finding someone of higher quality. And then step 4, which I think may be like the most important thing that kind of ties into the other ones a little bit, which is have a why. Have a why outside of solely just trying to get to a better place in the short term. Have a why for like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get to where I envision the long term and where I want to be, and I'm gonna do it because of the fact that I have a really strong reason, a really strong why, really strong purpose. Really ask yourself, why do you want to change? Is it just because of the fact that you may not be in a great situation right now? Or is it because, well, that of course, but then also you're just not where you want to be. You're not happy with just your life itself or just life in general. Like for me, when I was struggling in the past, the one thing I would think of is like, okay, I'm just gonna work and focus on stuff and learn and try new things because it's something that I have a very strong why for. Why am I trying to work a lot? Why am I trying to learn and focus in on a whole bunch of like important things? It's because of the fact that I had a very important why. I'm not doing this necessarily just for myself. I'm doing this for like my future family. Because the things that you do today have a massive impact on you 10 years down the line, especially if you're like younger like me. I'm 19 right now. If you are able to just really focus in on the important things to you, and you like get your foot in the door with that, and then you just let it compound over time with whatever skill or work or thing that is important to you, your life can, I mean, I believe at least that your life can be so drastically better in the future. Just because instead of maybe like going out and partying and being unproductive and, you know, you decide, you know what, I don't want to fall into that life and I want to make a better life for me and my future and my future family, or whatever the why is for you. Continuing with that, I want to say, maybe consider, if you're not religious, maybe looking into Christianity and the Bible and learning about God and following Him. You see, in John 12, verses 46 to 47, Jesus says, I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness. He then goes on to say, and if any man hears my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. I just randomly came across these verses today as I just opened up my Bible, and those are the ones, after searching a little bit, reading through some different stuff, I'm like, oh hey, this is actually a good idea for the video. That's where this whole video came from, these 2 verses. If you believe in Jesus and follow him, like he says, that whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness. You could find that light, maybe through him. While yes, religion may not be for you, it's something to consider, and I highly recommend at least maybe trying to learn more about the Bible and the wisdom that it has. I've recently become Christian, and probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. If you are religious, or if you're considering it now, maybe pray. If you're in a dark time, or you know someone who is, pray. Pray for them, pray for yourself. Try to form that relationship with God. because that can bring a lot of peace and direction into your life that you may not have ever expected. I know it has for me. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. It's all greatly appreciated. With all that being said, thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next one.